Lee just ate a big, yummy hot burrito.
Yum.
How was it?
It was good.
Lee.
Yeah, his tummy's all nice and full.
It's going to be bubbly in about 35 minutes.
Yeah, he's going to have to shit real bad.
Lee, I hope you stay hydrated.
Welcome back to another episode
Of Tea Time.
where the podcast where we love to eat into the microphone.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that.
Yeah, we literally never do
We
that.
literally don't do
Well,
that.
on Patreon, we did it 2 times, and that's all it takes.
And then we got fucked
And then
to
we
hell
got
for
reamed
it.
out. But here's the thing.
Here's the thing. Okay, I'm saying this. I'm saying this
Okay.
as a just to put it out there.
Okay.
So I can keep myself accountable. I'm going to try and not cuss as much as possible unless it's in the stories so we don't have to edit every clip like crazy.
Wow.
If we swear less, we will be monetized on YouTube too.
Okay.
Every video is limited ad.
Really?
Limited ad
Okay.
revenue because every single line has a swear in it.
So here's the thing. When I was 22 years
Okay.
old, I dated this guy,
Okay.
and he told me his biggest complaint about me was that I had the mouth of a sailor. And I said,
get over it.
and I said,
Get
do you
over
think
it.
you could have described that in a way that makes me not want to curse you out? Because I don't feel like you're setting me up for success when you explain your feelings in a way that makes me want to use every...
When you explain your feelings in a way that makes you sound like a big, fat, giant, wet... See.
Well, stay vigilant out there for the curse words.
Yeah.
So, you know what?
Ooh, this is
maybe
gonna be
that
hard.
maybe that square had a point.
That's good. This is hard. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to try and not cuss
We're-
unless it's in the stories.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
You literally already said a swear in the first
I did.
sentence of
I
the
did,
show.
but we're going to restart and starting
No.
now. No more cussing.
No more
Unless it's in the
cursing.
story.
Yeah, no more cussing, no more cursing. We're just going to be delicate, dainty, fair ladies.
I just want to see. I want to put myself to the ultimate test. Let's see how long we can go.
We've
I
been
can
here
go.
before. You realize that.
Have we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did try, 'cause
we've done this
One
before.
time I tried. Well, someone commented that said that that we swear so much, and I was like, okay, let me get through. And I think I
I'm
got
addicted to swearing.
I think I got 10 minutes in, and
Yeah.
then I just started letting it rip. But here's the thing: these stories,
it's so hard not to.
these stories do spike our adrenaline.
They do. Cussing is so fun too. It just paints this like visceral picture. I love cussing.
I'm not going to use any swear words, but when you say, "Oh my God, I just ran into Jeff," or "Oh my God, I just ran into Jeff," the latter
It
is
paints a picture.
it tells you almost everything you need to know. I don't
Yeah.
even need to say anything more about Jeff
That's it.
when I say it the second way.
Yeah.
When I say, "Oh, I ran into Jeff," I just give you nothing.
And okay. And if you say, "Oh, hey, hey, excuse me, I need to run to the restroom. I need to run to the restroom." No, I'm
Well,
gonna
how would you
say,
say it?
"Hey,
Bleep it.
I
bleep
gotta
it.
go. I gotta go take a fat. I gotta go take a fat steaming."
Beep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that tells me that you just had a bite of Lee's breakfast burrito.
Yes. I don't want to. Oh, excuse me. I've got to go to the ladies' room.
Pardon me, mister.
No, I've got something to drop.
Oh.
I've got a log.
Yeah, the album's
That's gotta
dropping.
go.
Or you can say a big steamy dump.
Not as fun though. Not as fun as saying
No,
as saying a
because
fat. You know,
Beep.
paints a better picture.
it does. And here's the thing. We fancy ourselves, dare I say, wordsmiths. And I think it's... okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm enjoying my Monster Energy, my zero sugar Monster Energy drink.
Good.
I'll tell you this. NPR, they always preface all of their podcasts with being like, if you'd like to listen to the version of this with no curse words, we've got one of those to offer. And I'm like, okay.
Can you
come on.
imagine if we did that on this podcast?
Can you imagine being an adult? Can you imagine literally being an adult and saying, I'd prefer to listen to the one with no profanity?
Okay.
What kind of virgin, weird life have you led that you can't listen to a TED Talk that has a couple swear words in it?
Well,
I can't hear that.
If you're in the car with kids,
Well, then you know what? Like, exposure therapy.
if you're
Let 'em
in
grow
the
up.
car with...
Let them figure it out. My
if you're
mom
in-
cussed like a sailor in front of me growing up.
And look at how you turned
And
out.
look
But
at
so-
me.
But so, yeah. But I think if you're in the car with 7-year-olds and 5-year-olds,
Yeah, you play this
they
podcast.
probably don't need to hear about a woman who was just stoned, beaten, and
Why?
I'll bleep the word essayed in Iran or
Why?
even
It's-
down the
I
street in
think-
Kentucky.
I think
But-
it exposes the children to the real.
Well, I'm
exposes
saying,
children to the real
well, I'm
world.
saying okay, you're missing the point. So I'll back it up. So if you're gonna play that for them,
Yeah.
and there's gonna be a curse word in that or
Mhm,
whatnot,
mhm.
I think you're focusing on like the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? I think the picture that they're painting, or like the violence that they're painting, if like you're listening to like a news podcast, or if they're talking about depression or like financial struggles, I think that's gonna like make more of an impact with the kid than like hearing the F word.
You're telling me that you don't want to play a podcast that's all about young girls in Iran getting in front of your kids?
Oh, well, I didn't say what I would prefer. I would only play that.
Okay, we'll see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm lost.
Well, the listening wasn't all the way there, but I think it's because I'm not using curse words, so I'm not.
I think we're all a little lost.
Well, didn't ask you, but
you know,
I will.
I guess if you want to break it down to an existential kind of thing, yeah.
Oh, existentially, yeah,
we're all lost.
Been lost. But
have any of us ever actually been found?
The people that have been found are Tony Robbins.
Ram
the people
Dass.
that have been the people that have been found are Charles Manson. Those are people that start leading.
Okay,
that's when you
no.
start getting people. What did I say?
You can't use Ram Dass and Charles Manson in the same sentence and say that they've both been found.
Well, why not?
Because Charles Manson is obviously.
Well, why not? He led people.
Yeah, he's better. So don't.
Well, I was trying to be an equal opportunist.
Okay, I get that.
I'm on board.
How many minutes in are we?
Too many.
About 5.
Oh, this is going to be a long one. All right.
It's going to be a long one.
All right, guys. All right.
So I guess we'll get into it. Today's subject, we've got worst people you've ever met. And just to start you guys off, we had so many emails. We are going to be moving a lot of them over to Patreon because
we couldn't
there are
get
too
through
many.
all of them. But
so again, if you want to hear more haunted things, go over to Patreon. We also we get random emails too that are read on Patreon that are so horrific. I just opened one and I screamed. Can't wait to read it.
Yeah.
We'll read it over there. I won't talk about
scream.
it. I did. Worst people you've ever met.
The worst person I didn't meet this person, but the worst person I ever came in contact with was a man who DM'd me over the pandemic, and he had photoshopped his face on a bunch of random feet, and he said that he was pretending those feet were my feet stepping on him. And that was that's one of the worst things I've ever seen.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty, yeah.
Yeah. He left an impression.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Worst person I've ever met. Here's the thing about me and the way that my brain works.
You forget everyone.
I forget everything. I forget everyone. I forget everything that's ever happened to me. It's like if it hasn't happened to me within 36 hours, I have no recollection.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm like, it wasn't that bad.
No. Remember that time we were walking in Silver Lake and this girl, we were both crossing the street because we were walking back home. And this like girl, I think she had like short blonde hair or something. And she's like, Gabby. And you go, hey. And you look to me and you go, Harper, who is that? And I was like, girl, that's your friend. I don't know who your friend is.
I don't remember.
But you played it off really, I will say, you play it off really well.
There was my friend Adri, she brought this up the other day, which I had forgotten about because, of course, we went hiking in the beginning of the pandemic. And because this happens to me so often where people will be like, what's up? And I don't know who they are. I have no memory. We were hiking and this guy comes up to me and he's like, oh my God. And I was like, good to see you.
No.
And he was like, oh no, we've never met.
Oh.
No, we've never met. I'm just a fan. And I was like, right on. And Adri was like, do you remember how fucking embarrassed?
Oh, Lee, how many minutes are we?
My timers are off.
Okay. We're 6 minutes in.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Gab, all right, you get, that's strike one.
That's so crazy. It's so crazy how
10 minutes.
you're not even thinking about it.
You want to know why? Because also I've noticed when we're trying not to curse, you and I are choosing our words more carefully. I feel like we're speaking a little bit more, we're speaking slower because we're having more distinction with our words. But when you just got into that story and you had some emotion behind it, you just kind of threw caution to the wind.
You know, having to think about what language you're going to use does make you slow down. And when you slow down, when you speak, it makes you more respectable.
Yes.
It does.
I do kind of right now in the way I'm speaking, I do kind of almost feel like I'm cosplaying as like the daughter my mom wishes that she had.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of like, oh.
Yeah, distinguished.
I'm trying this on for size. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm sure my swearing we will encounter once we get into these, but.
Wow, you're really using colorful language.
You guys, I picked up a book for the first time in.
Ever?
You wish. I picked up a book. Gabby's fake laugh is one of my fave things.
Oh, yeah. Run that one back, Lee.
Get him, honk. Get him. But don't curse.
Come on, it was
Ever?
Lee gets a semi every time he makes a joke. And every time he dazzles us with his wit.
You got that one right, Lee.
I work with retards.
Don't. Oh, I almost cursed. I felt it. I felt one bubbling up in me. Okay.
Anyway.
But anyways, I picked up a book for the first. So I just saw a show the other night, and this guy was so funny. But he was using. I didn't even know half the words he was using. But I was just like, he was so funny.
Who was it?
It was an improv guy. So don't worry about
improv?
that. Don't worry about that. I was trying really hard to skirt around, but it was improv. But anyways, and it was a musical improv show. So he's just making up songs off the top of his head, and it was like a Renaissance themed whatever. But it was so. As he was talking, I'm like, you know what? I think I need to read more, because when I'm reading, I'm picking up so many different words, and like you're seeing them in a sentence and whatnot. But recently, I've just been saying the same 5 words, and it's
5 words, literally.
I'm like reading, like I'm like trying. So I'm like, all right. That needs to stop.
Yeah.
And then I'm literally
is the only word I use.
Literally like T-gag.
T-gag.
Giving.
Those are the words I use.
And here's a note I've been receiving in my personal life. And I used to think like, oh my God, cute, a compliment alert. But now I'm like, uh-oh. But now I'm starting to realize, oh, this actually might be something I need to look inwards on.
Mm-hmm.
So many people have been saying, like, oh, Harper, I didn't realize you were 30. I thought you were much younger. and I've gotten that note even from like cousins. They're like, that's crazy that your brother is the younger one, because you really seem so much.
You exude
21. And I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, I fucking got Do you see? Once
Look, I know you start getting, you forget.
Because let me detach. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to slow down.
Okay. So we're both at strike one. We're both at strike one. We can do this. We are capable women.
We've got
about
this.
12 minutes.
Okay.
We got this.
Okay, we got this. And not me white knuckling the chair.
I know,
okay, you are too. Do you see us?
Should we address the change in the set?
We should.
Oh, all right, y'all. We have not literally. Okay, wow. So I'm fighting 2 battles right now, because I'm trying not to use language that seems like I'm not speaking to the top of my intelligence. Whoa. And I'm trying not to curse, which is sort of one and the same. All right, you guys. We have a pristine new.
Okay, we don't need to put on an act like that.
Curtain. No, because the curse words are about to start flowing.
Yeah. We love the lavender.
We got rid of the pink. The pink was kind of washing honk out. And so we put up purple, and it looks pretty good.
Lee, thanks for handling that.
Now, let us know what you think. If you hate it, don't tell me, because I'm already insecure about it.
Well, I like it.
No, because here's the thing. We're going to have some listeners.
Look like a ghost?
No, it's really, you don't.
All right. But no,
why are you insecure about it?
I think the pink, I feel like the pink was a little signature-y. Like it was kind of like a look.
Yeah, but here's the thing about you, is that you are afraid of change.
Terrified.
Exactly.
And see, I love it.
It's good to incorporate new things.
Yeah.
This gives me new energy. It's something different.
Yeah. I am also energized by
love to mix things up. It spices it up.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Good.
And one thing about Lee is I'm happy that you just handled that. And I will say, another to speak broadly, one of the worst types of people you can meet is specifically a man that can't handle anything.
So
that can't plan. It's unattractive to me. And I'm saying, Lee, you did a good job.
Lee does have a lot of, he does put a lot of thought into things. Here's the other thing. I had my old roommate, James Egan, God bless him. He was
not the last name.
Such a character.
Not the first legal
James
last
Egan.
name.
I love James Egan. I don't know where he is now. I think he moved back to Tennessee. I loved him. But he was this guy that was like hyper intelligent, very funny, very smart, bordering autistic. And he had this thing where he had 4 outfits. That was it. He had his 4 shirts. He had his 2 pair of pants, and he would buy things in bulk. He never changed a thing. So he had the same body wash, and he would order just like boxes of it to the house and just have it stacked in the bathroom. And I go, why? And he'd go, I don't like change. I don't like change. Why change it when I know it's good? And it was like the funniest. it was like the weirdest thing I'd ever seen. And he always had the same meal that he would eat out of this huge bowl.
Wow. So extreme hyperfixation.
Extreme hyperfixation. And he always wore these corduroy suspenders. And that was
Was
the
he
thing.
a comic?
He was not. He was an actor. And
Okay.
I wish he had like stayed in LA because he could have been so successful, but he was his own worst enemy.
Okay.
He's the funniest guy, but he was very
kinda how I am.
particular. Really, very neurotic.
I buy packs of this. Like when I
Yep.
find a T-shirt I like, I buy packs of them.
That's
It
exactly
becomes
it.
almost
I
like a
have-
uniform.
I have probably a dozen of these.
Yeah.
Um,
This is how
same
men
with
are,
pants.
though.
I bought a pair of pants for work recently, and then I bought 3 more. And then
and
because I liked them.
in the same exact color.
The same
literally.
exact pair of pants.
Yeah.
This is what men
I
do.
I just bought 4 of them, and
Well-
then I wore a jacket, my bomber jacket.
Yeah.
I wore it, and it kind of started getting like a little too loose, it worn in,
Yeah.
and so I just bought the same exact
Yeah,
one.
of course you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am fighting the urge to scream because that is how funny that is. I will say, so this is very common for straight men to do.
Yeah.
Have you ever dated a straight guy that is not likely who is I know probably the answer is no, but have you
Hot
dated
mess.
have you dated someone who, specifically a guy that like really cares about their clothes and
Like what
whatnot?
their like style.
Specifically, yeah, I'm asking. I dated
My ex was like this. He was
Oh.
very, very aware of like what he wore. He had really good style.
he did have really good
I know
style.
my ex he put me on. He was
Yeah.
he had really good style. He had good
He had
taste.
really good taste.
He knew how to dress.
Really good taste.
He did. He was very clean. Like everything aesthetically was like very clean, very stylish, very cool.
Great taste in art.
Well, that's how he made
yeah.
his money too, right?
No,
No. Oh, I thought he was in kind of fashion.
no, not at all.
Oh, okay.
But he was very good at like aesthetically putting things together. He
Mhm.
like knew how to make things look good.
I think that's so fascinating to me when people have an eye for that.
Yeah, it was really attractive. I really did like that part about him. And he like knew how to dress me because I dressed like a teenager.
He did kind of Kanye you.
He did Kanye me
You
for
were the
sure.
Kim to his Kanye.
I 100% was. He like showed me how to dress nicely
Mhm.
and like put me on like good brands, like how to look clean, like how to look grown up because
And how to wear loungewear while making it stylish and
exactly.
whatnot. Yeah.
He was really good at that. He was really good at that. He showed me all of the best tattoo artists. I got to give him that.
Yeah, one time he not told me to, but he was like, "Oh, I would throw that stuff out." So I was like,
yeah.
"Wait, come look at my closet." He's like, "Get rid of that." I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's my favorite shirt, but if it's
Yeah.
out, it's out." But I'm asking this because did he ever? Was he ever particular about certain pieces where he was like, "Oh, you know, babe, wear whatever you want. Oh, but don't wear this hoodie or anything like that"?
Yeah, he would. Yeah.
I had an ex
Yeah.
that he cared very deeply
Yeah.
about his clothes. He would steam them.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Yeah, my ex was like that.
Yeah.
Very
And then one
much.
time I was like, okay, I'm cold. Can I go put a hoodie on? Yeah, go in there. And then he follows me and he's like, okay, well, don't go in this drawer. So we're actually going to go down here.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, to the commoners'
Mhm.
clothes.
Anything that was wrinkled, he'd be like, you cannot wear that. He made sure that like my things were cuffed perfectly.
Hmm.
He was right though. There was
Yeah.
a lot to be said in the way that you dress. If you present clean and nicely.
I used to think it didn't matter as much. I've always been
Yeah.
like a makeup girly, but for clothes, I like clothes, but I didn't really put that much thought
Yeah.
into it.
I've always wanted to fight against this stuff. I've always wanted to fight against, like, rebel against, like, looking classically nice because I always wanted to be like, no, I can prove that I can be a certain way, but dress a certain way.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, by society's standards, the way that you physically present yourself is the first thing people will judge you by.
Right.
You'll never be able to fight that. You
Mhm.
know, I think that's like a reason why I've gotten so many tattoos and I've put all this stuff on my teeth and stuff is because I'm trying to like prove that I can look a certain way while being, you know, a different way.
Mhm.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, kind of. Also, I don't know if I can't remember if it was on here or in our home where you were saying that kind of a result of how you look is also tied to, you know, the mommy wound.
Yeah, of like if you think
Where
you
that's
think
wrapped
that
up in
I
rebellion.
can't be smart and capable if I look a certain way, I'll show you.
Mhm.
Basically, is like what my whole thing is about.
Yeah.
Like I can be smart, I can be capable, I can be successful, and also be fully tattooed and have all this stuff all over my face and blah blah blah. But even though that's true, it's by society standards, that's not how you're going to be viewed ever. Remember we had this conversation with Eli, your brother, in case you forgot.
Yeah. My brother Eli.
Yeah, your brother Eli. In case you
Eli,
forgot.
the brother. Yeah.
And he was saying, we were talking about lawyers having tattoos, and he's like, I would absolutely trust a clean-cut looking lawyer rather than a lawyer who was covered in tattoos.
I wonder if that will start to change now, though, because so
Maybe.
many people have, like, it's almost more rebellious now to not have tattoos than it is to have. And that's kind of an interesting switch.
Yeah. I wonder, because society's standards of what looks, we give it all meaning, you know? We give all of it meaning. So if it shifted, if everybody in the world had tattoos, that would become like the mainstream look of like what looks good.
Yeah, very true.
We give everything meaning. Nothing is really real, you guys.
Well, you and I were talking in the car on the way over here about just certain people in our lives that have really deeply affected us and that caused us so much heartache and pain. And that in the moment or even a year after or 2 years after, you're like, oh my Lord, this is just always going to hurt. This is always just going to be like my person that just took a piece of me when they left. And then a few years go by and you work on yourself and your resentments. And then you look at them and you're like, oh, wow, that just meant kind of nothing. It meant something then, but now it's nothing to me now.
Yeah.
Which is very freeing.
Which goes to show you that the only thing we have is the present moment.
Then now tying it back into our topic, the worst person you've ever met. When we first came up with this, or maybe someone suggested, I forgot who, but I was like, oh, I'm really excited to go back through my mental Rolodex. Like, I wonder who the worst person is. And I was really thinking about it. And then I'm just kind of like, I just don't really care. Yeah, I've met some assholes. But I'm like, I could be the worst person someone's ever met on an off day or whatnot. You know?
You said a-hole, but I guess that's okay. That's okay.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Did I really just curse?
Yeah, but
the way that flew out of my damn mouth and it didn't even register. What's happening? No, that's a seizure. Okay, I'm back. All right, so I just used up my 3 strikes.
I don't know. The worst person I've ever met, it's so hard. There are people you meet and you immediately are like, absolutely not. They give you a feeling where you're like, I do not trust this person. I do not like this person.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, not a single one of those people can come to my mind, are coming to mind right now.
I know for a fact I'm the worst person in some people's lives. Like,
Jesus.
Especially like my ex, I'd like just the way things ended.
Really?
Yeah, it did not end well.
That's the one that you took the shit at.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I know I'm at 3. Now you're at 2.
But and then there was like this girl that was a roommate, and we just did not get along. She was like a Craigslist roommate in like the last house I lived in, or not the last house, but like right before I graduated college. Like we had a friend move out, and then we took this Craigslist roommate, and we were each other's worst person.
Craigslist roommate and you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She was pretty aggressively terrible.
There are some terrible people out there.
It's very also wild that some people just are not compatible to live with.
Yeah.
And the more you try to make it work, the more y'all will actually eat at each other.
It's also very subjective, because it's like, I don't think she was really a terrible person.
Right.
She just was very annoying to like
you.
Us.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The compatibility factor. Like not even, I'm not saying for romantic, I'm just saying just on a human level. It's why some people just can't be friends, because they find the other person to be wildly irritable, but then other people think that person's a treasure.
It's literally like art. Like, it's like comedy. It's like art. Like, some people think, Picasso is the greatest, and people say, I don't care.
And some people say the art's okay, but his views on women, that's actually what I'm here for.
Some people watch my comedy, they go, not funny. I say, well, it's gonna be wrong. You are wrong. But, some people see my honks tits, they go, those aren't
big. Like one of my exes
those aren't big.
Said, so where's the big tits? And I said, and that's the worst person I've ever met, right there.
One of the worst people I've ever met might be in my family, actually, now that I think about it. And it's not my mom. It's she might be one of the worst people I've ever met. And I will spare my family the decency, not that they listen to this, but she's Yeah, in my family, and she's probably pretty terrible. I've avoided her most of my life. Thank God she does not.
Wait,
live
you said your
near.
mom or someone else in your family?
She's on my mom's side
You're
of
on
the
your mom's
family.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She might be the worst person I've ever met. She also probably is the worst person besides my mom's dad that my mom's ever met. So
Wow.
Saying it directly to her.
yeah,
So we're not going to say any names, but we are going to paint you guys a
it's
picture.
very extreme.
on-
So she is
Just
my mom.
follow
No,
the
so-
red yarn and then you guys can piece
Yeah.
it together.
She's pretty nasty. She's pretty nasty. Said some pretty nasty things to everybody in our family.
That's kind of fun. We have one of
Yeah.
those in our family who's
Yeah.
just it's an equal opportunist. So
Yeah.
anyone is fair game.
I think my grandpa was probably the worst person a lot of people had ever met.
Mhm.
That's what I was gonna say. And is it your mother's father?
My mom's dad,
Yeah.
Magdi, was probably the worst person my mom ever met.
So, I mean, you got to think that if he was pretty much the worst, even to you as your grandpa,
yeah,
then
He
imagine like
wasn't-
being your dad. Imagine that person being your father.
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, I
That's
can't.
aggressive.
I mean, my mom's family is a mess because of
And then
him.
with barely any therapy, if any at all.
None. Oh, you kidding me? My grandpa didn't believe in therapy.
Yeah.
No way.
That's a king.
So
He said, "I'm coming from Egypt. I don't believe in therapy.
yeah, A plus B equals.
I'm gonna have an affair,
Yeah,
and that's what it means.
sure.
I'm having an affair and emotionally ruin, decimate my entire family."
A plus B equals a catatonic state.
Yeah,
After the
so-
trauma has taken over.
Yeah, so Magdi might be the worst. But he died when I was really young,
Yeah,
so
you
I
didn't
don't.
meet. I
I remember he screamed at me one time.
Oh, really?
There were two my two instances with my grandfather that I really remember was when I don't know if I've talked about it on here before, but it was Christmas years ago. And my grandfather and then my cousin's other grandfather, like his mom's, whatever, the other grandfather that was not related to me
Mhm.
is Jewish. And he said to my grandpa, he's like, "Oh, happy holidays, Magdi." And Magdi goes, "Do not say happy holidays to me. I am not a fucking Jew."
Oh.
We can cuss there because I'm impersonating Magdi. And I was like, "Nah, there he is.
There's our shining star.
There's that happy guy."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's delightful.
Yeah. That's on Daddy Magdi.
And that's on leaving a trail of tears in his past.
Papa Magdi.
Papa Magdi.
Yeah.
My dad's father was extremely
That-
abusive.
That's gotta be a really bad one.
My parents wouldn't allow me to meet him because he was such a terror.
Yeah.
He trigger warning, he killed, I believe it was at least one dog by drowning them in the pool.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Monster.
He was
You're a monster.
he was a Hitler apologist, physically and verbally
A
abusive.
sociopath.
Yeah,
Psychopath,
like
sociopath.
like a very sick man. And then he was outside a methadone clinic in Tijuana in
Hell
like
yeah.
the early 2000s, I believe, and then was crossing the street and got ran over by a trolley. And that's on Daryl.
And God works in mysterious ways.
And that's on the end of that.
Yeah, my grandpa died with a blood clot in the hospital really quickly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he have a lot of visitors?
Honestly, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
And I remember like 2 people cried at his funeral. And it was my uncle. And maybe my
Complicated
cousin.
emotions there, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you would say that's like the worst person you've
That
just from
by
the stories,
proxy.
by proxy.
Yeah,
right.
but maybe the one person in my family could be. Although I haven't spent a lot of time with her, I've spent enough time to know that
To
this
know
is a
what you like and what you
vicious
don't.
Human being, a vicious human being, a vicious and sick person.
Hunk, the more that we talk, the more that it's kind of interesting to me how much of our lives are mirrored in one way or another. But
Yeah.
on that note,
Yeah.
shall we get into the stories?
Let's get into it.
Okay. Hi, Hunks and P.
Not that fake.
What? I had a boss who just recently quit, and she was truly the most foul person on the face of this earth. She was from the suburbs, hugely racist,
Nice.
and was terrified when our office moved to downtown Buffalo, New York. She had to walk from her car across the street inside the building and was constantly concerned with her safety because it's a predominantly Black area.
Oh wow.
She once
Oh,
uttered,
wow.
oh, she sounds like a real peach. She once uttered the phrase, "The only Black life that matters to me is my horse."
She did not. Oh,
I
this
hope
is a wicked woman.
This is a wicked
Evil.
beast
Evil. Ew.
of a broad. I hope the horse kicked her.
I hope it did too.
She was also terrified to live near the University of Buffalo when COVID started because it was a large Asian student body, and she was sure they were spreading it and would tell
COVID,
anyone who would listen.
Oh, this is mental illness at its finest.
You know what
this
is too?
Fear-mongering mental illness.
So she has something in her life that she's not able to face.
Yep.
So instead, she's just really leaning in full force to this ignorance because that's providing her a little safe place under this, dare I say, retarded umbrella.
Yeah, absolutely. This retarded umbrella.
I can say that I have epilepsy.
I can say that I have ADHD.
Perfect. Physically, she was repulsive. She had fried red hair and huge yellow buck teeth that made her look like Peter Pettigrew from Harry Potter.
Stop. It's giving Ronald McDonald.
And she attached a picture below, so don't worry, y'all. She had she had really long yellow toenails and always wore open-toed sandals in the summer. Okay, she's really giving beast.
She wanted to be at the insurrection so bad.
She did.
Yeah.
But her toenails probably prevented her from getting there.
Yeah.
And always wore open-toed sandals in the summer. All right. Once during an ice storm in the winter, she took off her shoes to get inside because it was so slick. I presume she just sliced her toenails through the ice to make it into the building. And they come in
some
handy.
kind of claw.
Yeah. She may be racist, but she is a crafty one. The only reason she worked with us was because her husband died by suicide. I wonder whose fault it was.
Yeah.
And our boss at the time felt sorry for her. He overdosed on Tylenol, pussy, and on...
It's okay, you can say it.
Okay. And on that just slipped out. It slipped out.
Say the stories.
It was a seizure, so you guys can't get me in trouble. And if you guys get mad at me, you're ableist. And honestly, I can't blame him because if I had to live with her, I would too.
You can overdose on Tylenol?
You can overdose on almost anything.
Yeah.
Not you looking to leave for the answer. I also had to go to a summer meeting at her house, and we all sat on her patio. The smell of cat piss from inside the house was overpowering through the patio door and outside into our noses. She only had one cat, but it was old, pissed uncontrollably, and she didn't clean up after it.
No.
Thank you guys for everything you do. All the best.
Oh.
And that's Pizza Pettigrew.
And there he is, and there's Peter Pettigrew.
Oi, 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 oi.
Huh. So it's funny because as I read over a few of these stories, a lot of them have kind of the same through line that seem to be insanely racist, homophobic, and like these kinds of people.
Mm.
Got a lot of those. Got a lot of those happening. A lot, it's very it's a very relevant type of person right now. This kind of person. Don't want to get too into it. I'll say this. Sorry, Honk, that I have to say it again.
No, say it again.
Real quick. My dad called me this morning and he goes, "You heard about these pedophile rings in Hollywood?" And I go, "Please don't." "Please don't." I said, "Dad, you have to stop reading this right now." I was like trying to save him. And I was like, these are right-wing conspiracy theories. You can't. He goes, you can't believe this. And he goes, "How can I not believe it when it's all around?" And I said, no, not you too. Not you. And then he goes on his whole thing about Bill Gates. And
he's a little late to the Q train, to be honest.
He's kind of late to the Q.
But he got there, Lee.
But he got there. He did get there. I said,
he was the last stop on the way.
Yeah, I said, you want to talk about where this stems from? Why don't you look at fundamentalist Christianity? Why don't you look at the churches where this is actually coming from? He can't look at that. He changes the subject. He goes,
once it gets too real.
Once it gets too real, he can't do it. And he goes, well, what about, he redirects the conversation. He goes, well, what about trans people running in races? I go, what about it? He goes, well, do you think it's fair that that these men should be running in women's races? I go, I don't have an opinion. He goes, you should. And I go, why?
And hey, John, how many races you watching?
Yeah.
You watching a lot of races, John?
Yeah, you sitting around tuning in?
You thinking about joining?
Yeah.
Oh, he goes, 800,000 children go missing a year in the United States. I go, yeah, what are you doing about it? What are you doing about it, John?
There's not a trans underground layer.
No, but they think that there is a trans underground layer that's filled with lizard people that's taking children.
It's like underneath the Denver airport.
They really do. Like they're taking their white precious children and they're sucking their blood. I can't.
See, my thing is that where you at? I'll join.
Lee wants what they've
Lee
got.
wants
I
it.
want everything they've got.
And
Well,
you know what?
The money,
The money.
the power,
Yeah.
the influence.
The
Come on.
lizard.
Bring it on. The lizard.
Come on. The Lizzie.
Lee
come on.
loves lizards.
The immortal life.
Not the fingers, Lee. Don't tickle your little fingers like that.
It's this weird, this Hollywood elite stuff. I can't. It just, it baffles me.
I can't even get into it just for my own state because
know.
it's just not rooted in logic. And you just go, okay, yeah.
But
Because
it's like-
you start, well, and I totally get, I'm not clowning on you. Like, I totally get why you would get frustrated because it is frustrating to
Yeah.
talk to someone
When it's
and you
coming
want
from my dad.
When it's your father and like, you know, you love your dad and you want to be close to him. And so when someone's saying something that you vehemently disagree with, it's a human reaction to go, dad, like this is hurting because it's hurting you.
Because it's not even that I disagree. It's that it's so ignorant. It's so not rooted in reality.
Yeah.
Any kind of logic. And it is painful to hear it because I'm like, please don't. Please.
Well, it's also like
think a little bit.
all the worst parts of the internet are just like in speaking to you
And
now.
they're preying
Right.
on people who are not super educated, who are stuck in little bubbles. And this is like, my dad has been stuck in his like little San Diego bubble his
Oh,
whole life.
He is
the
their
perfect
type.
target.
No, he's the prime thing.
He's who they want.
Well,
he
and then-
is.
And so Gab and I were talking about this,
crazy.
this morning when it
painful.
happened.
Starting to ramp back up because Trump is the whole Trump.
No,
thing.
he was
getting
just freaking indicted this morning.
Yeah, but when
But
we
they
were
also
talking
don't
about
believe that.
yeah, I know, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I really don't care. But so
Yeah.
when you and I were talking this morning, I was bringing up to you that I have someone in my family who, granted, it's not a close family member. It's not like in my immediate family, but he is in my family, and he also is the prime for the picking person to be a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
Someone who has, like your father, a deep childhood trauma that never really got addressed. And it's something that's almost like, it's like something you don't even want to imagine. It's so dark and painful.
Mhm.
And so he had that happen to him. He's not highly educated. He leaves jobs a lot. He's had a lot of solitary jobs. So
Yeah.
he just listens to a bunch of podcasts. And so you can just like kind of fall in to whatever. And when I just saw him on Thanksgiving, you know, all you can do just to keep the peace is just go, okay, oh, all right.
Yeah.
But talking about how, the ocean's actually space and there's cameras in the stars and everyone's watching it. And you're like, all right, okay. But to me, it's just yet another form of escapism. Now, granted, when you start talking about, you can't just, I feel like I'm speaking from a privileged point of view to just go like, all right, you just have to laugh it off because like if he's going, you know, what am I trying to say? Sorry, guys. When he's saying, if he's talking about trans people, Jewish people, Black people, if you're talking about marginalized groups,
all things he talks about,
then you can't just go like, there he goes again. No,
silly.
What a knee slapper that was.
But you kind of do at the same time.
It's a fine line. It's to say, hey, that's not, you know, to set a boundary.
Yeah.
But then also you have to. It's hard not to just get wrapped up in that chaos with them because they're also using that ignorance as a form of escape.
Yeah.
Because currently your dad has a deep, a deep wound that he's not addressing. My cousin has something that is horrific that happened to him. Yeah. And instead of, you know, whatever the hell they're doing, they're going down these chaotic, oftentimes hurtful wormholes.
Yeah.
And
it's like it's all a lack of having taken care of something that really traumatized them. It's all fear-based. It's all because I swear, it's like, I don't know if every conspiracy theorist, obviously, like it's a blanket statement to say that like every conspiracy theorist has been through something highly traumatic, but like it is this way that they manifest instead of like taking care of the actual pain that they've experienced in their own lives, of like displacing it and being like, I got to be mad at this and this, and I have to blame trans people for this, and everybody's a pervert. And you're like, oh my God, no, you're just so deeply hurt and confused. You don't know what to do with this thing that you've never worked through. So you're finding things to grab onto.
We talked about this when the Andrew, what's his name? Callaway?
Callahan?
Whatever.
Yeah.
The dude that did that documentary on HBO, when that was coming out, it is interesting how the left and the right, where people meet in the middle is distrust of the government and big pharma and whatnot. And I just feel like it does baffle me. I'm like, why can we just like drop the hate towards the other
We're
side?
talking about the all gas, just to
All gas, no brakes.
all gas, no brakes.
Yeah.
just to fill.
Yeah. But I'm just like, that to me is just wild. And now we're getting off on a tangent, so we can get back to it. But just to end on that, I do just think it's.
You guys aren't here for the politics, you're here for the tea, but yeah, it all.
They said comedy politics.
Well, here's the other part of your specific relationship. It seems to be the only way you guys are communicating, and the only way that he can get you to like hold a conversation.
That's what we were saying this morning.
If you're like yelling at him about this stuff, and so he wants to talk to you. So it's like it's almost up to you to find like other common ground.
Yeah. Honestly, my dad doesn't
yeah.
know how to have a conversation with me.
Instead of that's exactly what we were saying. Like instead of going, oh, Gabby, how's your art going? Or, oh, you're going to be in San Diego this weekend.
Because
like,
that's boring to him.
Well, maybe he just doesn't really have like the emotional bandwidth.
He doesn't.
Probably.
He doesn't have the emotional bandwidth. And I know this because of my relationship with my mom. And my mom is like, he's never been able to have a conversation deeper.
He'd rather talk about the lizards that are fucking kids than but deep down he does want a relationship. He calls you every day. He loves you. He wants to talk to you. He just doesn't know.
He doesn't know how to have a
conversation. So
until
then it's lizard
until then it's Bill Gates and the Clintons. And
that's it. With my mom, it's like she's a teacher, and it's always her kids at work, and it's always her, her students, this and that. And it's like, I just let her do it. I mean, it's more tolerable than I used to get frustrated with. It's like, I don't fucking know these people.
Yeah.
Like I'm completely not attached to anything you're saying to me right now. And now I'm just like, oh, okay. And I just kind of let her go and talk because she just wants to talk to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And you kind of do to like keep a relationship. You just kind of got to let people do their thing unless it harms you. All right. Worst person progressively got worse. Worst person I've ever met was my trailer park king ex-boyfriend. When we met, this loser piece of shit did not even have a bank account. He was a bad boy I bought weed from that rode motorcycles. Okay. So obviously, my underdeveloped 20-year-old brain was like, yes, please. We moved in together after dating a couple of months because, of course, we did. All of our bills came out of my account, including his insurance, gym membership, etc., because the dude had the worst credit and, again, no bank account. After 4 years of dealing with this idiot, cheating on me and gaslighting, humiliating me at parties, 4 years, dude, I finally had enough when he went out of town to visit a cousin. The classic old visit a cousin line. But really was with another chick, and his best friend ratted on him.
What if it was still his cousin?
Yeah. Oh, God. Now that's something I'd want to see. I Facebook stalked the girl, and her status was, no, not this. Go have your period in a shark tank and leave us alone. Oh, no. Oh, I'm red hot. I'm red hot. I'm red hot, dude. And I saw red. Yeah. I'm seeing red.
No.
I'm seeing fucking red. I moved everything out of our house with his friend's help and poured gasoline all over the bed. All right. As you should.
Yeah.
Thankfully, my dad stopped my unhinged ass from lighting the match. I would have loved to have seen the rest of that if it had played out, though. Fast forward 6 months down the road. I can't believe that girl posted that on Facebook. What a fucking... fuck off. Okay, fast forward 6 months down the road, and this fucker wins $1 million on a $20 scratch-off ticket. That is so lame.
He won $20 million.
He won $1 million off of a $20 scratch ticket. That's insane. The most undeserving person.
And I hate to say this, but not enough to not say it. Go back and light the bed up.
Go back.
Light that bed up.
That's so crazy,
light it
dude. Up. Okay, at this point, I was living on my friend's couch, broke as fuck, because all of his bills were still coming out of my account.
Ooh.
No. I can't believe he won the lottery, dude. That's insane.
Where's his... There has to be karma coming.
I was having the hardest time getting them separated from my bank account. So I hit him up and asked him to repay me for his bills, and he wouldn't.
Shocker.
A few months later, I hear that his cousin died in a house fire, and the hospital would not release the body without payment to the funeral home, and this greedy jackass refused to give them even a loan. This guy's a piece of shit.
Oh, that's sociopathic.
But offered to help them sell some of their shit in storage on eBay. I cannot even express the irony of Curse of the Lottery being one of his all-time favorite shows when we dated. Oh, that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe winning the lottery was not so great after all. Fast forward 9 years down the road, and this dude is a full-blown white nationalist who
Okay.
live streamed himself on January 6th
Oh,
and currently has something like 19 indictments.
okay. How serendipitous from
Yeah,
us talking
insane.
about that before and then this story. That's very wild.
It's insane. He was apparently caught on camera busting through the barriers and knocking a female cop out.
Oh.
Anyway, but aren't the white nationalists the one who love cops?
Mm-hmm.
Blue lives matter.
Unless you're in the way of them trying to suck off Uncle Sam.
Yeah, it's so true. Anyway, those are just a fraction of the highlights. Hands down the worst person I've ever met. Yeah, that's
very insidious.
I hope he goes to prison. But she said he's still out and about and probably not going to face a single consequence.
Mm.
And is a smidge crazy. Apparently turning into a white supremacist ages you like 30 years. She sent pictures of him. This guy's a nightmare, dude. And you're so cute. Yeah, she gave us his full name and everything. This guy sucks, dude.
I love that you all write in, and it really is like we're a part of your journal. Let me see.
Look at him. He is a white nationalist. This is the person you would see and you'd be like, I bet that guy's a white nationalist.
Oh, you no.
Yeah.
Okay, no.
Let me see. I won't show it. Oh, geez.
He's wearing
saw-
like an American flag around his neck.
I remember seeing him on the news.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Damn.
So she said he turned into one. So when y'all were dating, he wasn't.
He was on the brink.
He was on the brink.
It sounds as if.
Y'all stop messing around with people that are.
That Q shit that was crazy. That was such a crazy period of time.
Mhm.
And it's unfortunately still ramping
And
up.
it's still
Still getting ready to go. The next election is going to be insane.
I
dude.
know. Okay, y'all, are we ready
Okay.
to move on?
Yeah.
All right. I saw this prompt and immediately thought of someone I worked with. We'd both moved to new countries for the same job around the same time. Then she became the team manager and the pandemic happened. So as a disclaimer, I made a lot of allowances for her than I felt comfortable with during the time that we had this little work friendship. She was one of those people who always had a story to top yours. And those people are so annoying. Already, you could have just stopped there and that's already the worst person ever. And knew the most about everything. To the point where she once argued with me that she was more European than me after Brexit. Even though she and generations of her family had been born in another fucking continent. The only accurate facts were hers and everything was a competition. She sounds like a real delight. She'd talk about how wealthy her family were, but proclaimed she was humble and not like other rich people.
Oh, no.
I'm not like other billionaires.
Oh, God.
Turns out she was exactly like them, spoiled, entitled, egotistical, and ready to shit on anyone for their own gain. Maybe she got her humbleness from her messy as fuck house or the state of her shit-splattered toilet, Lee.
Also
That
me.
was her words, not me.
Shit splattered toilet.
And that's illuminating. For such a humble person, she sure talked a lot of shit about others. I'd lose it when she
Love
called
that.
lowercase people pavos. Oh my God.
Not pavos.
Pavos or deros, taken from the words poverty and derelict, or refer to people or places as trash.
Good luck out there, girly.
Sounds real cute. The worst was when she'd say Greek people were dirty and lazy, calling them and Italians wogs. I don't even know if I can even say this.
She's British.
Yeah, that's what this is.
Okay, we've got this European. What is up with this European entitlement? I'll tell you, it's actually
Wow.
it's because Europeans took over the world, and that's what it is. Okay.
Well, don't worry, because here we go. Wait, maybe she's not European. She's Australian. When you told her to stop talking that way, she'd say it's not a racist team in Australia. They call themselves that.
There's a lot of racism in Australia.
Yeah.
The hell's that about?
Well,
Little fucking island.
I don't know. Okay.
Jail colony.
You wish. Okay. The word literally comes from you wish. It comes from gollywog, which was a separatist term for anyone brown, and she's white. Actually, worse than that was when she started telling people that she thought my male gay teammate had AIDS. Why? Because he's been having health issues and going to a few appointments. Okay.
That's got to be AIDS.
Okay. Well, now it's sounding like Gabby. When I told her how
it is sounding like me.
Yeah. When I told her how fucked and homophobic she was being, she'd say she was right because he looked sickly and was covered in scabs and lesions. Okay, no. He ended up getting demoted. Okay. When I adopted my rescue dog, she begged to be his sitter and told me she'd train all the issues out of him. The whole time I was away, she did the opposite of what I asked.
Why did you let her?
So I guess pandemic times were tough.
So this was a friend of hers?
Yes, a work friend during the pandemic.
Okay.
And so she prefaced at the beginning of this where she said, I let a lot more slide than I usually would because times were tough.
Got it. Okay.
The whole time she was away, she did the opposite of what I asked. The food he ate, where he slept, not walking in busy areas. I hate to bring this up, but it really is giving joy when you were in Italy.
It's giving joy when I was in Italy.
And I had COVID and I was bedridden for nearly a month. It was the most sick I've ever been in my life.
And I gave Joy specific directions on how to take care of the cats.
You
Pablo
have to,
was so sick.
And she fed Joy fed Pablo chicken soup with bones in it.
No, she fed her, and I was like, you specifically have to give them wet food. I come home, and what she did was put a bunch of water in their dry food. And I was like...
But there was soup, too, at one point.
She gave them, like, some soup that she had made, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I gave you specific directions on what to do.
And then she goes, oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, Joy, lost my mind on her. I was like, Joy, what the fuck? I gave you oh, does that upset you? And I was like, you fucking asking for it, bitch. You and them long titties. Some of the
fights that, because you guys have known each other since you were 16, some of the fights I would see y'all get into were so wild. And then it honestly threw me right back to my childhood. And I'd be like,
I got home and I was like, what? I was like, what the fuck? And she's like, she's still alive, isn't she? And then I had like to keep taking her back to the vet. And the vet was like, you need to change her diet. And I was like, oh my God. Anyway.
And that's on
giving joy.
And that's on
like doesn't she know that cats like eat like cans of food, like cups of like
she didn't want to she didn't want to do what I needed her to do.
She just specifically didn't want to do what you asked
she just
her
specifically was like, they're honestly, gonna be fine with whatever I do. They're cats. And I was like, no, she's sick. She needs to be on this specific kind of diet.
Yeah, because remember it was like around the time there was all that drama.
Yeah.
Okay, when I picked him up, he'd gained 2 kilos, had been given barely any of his treats, and stunk because he'd never been dried after a rainy walk.
No!
He also had scabs from where she yanked his collar and harness. Ew. Her favorite bit of advice was carry yourself with the confidence of a white man. Well, she might as well have been one with the way she bullied around the office.
It is honestly good advice.
Shitting on minorities and other women. The final straw came when she got a new role and gave me an average ranking in my performance review. Wow. It was so obviously shady that even HR corrected and increased my ranking before I saw it.
Wow.
I've never been happier to see the back of someone. Love you, honks. Okay, love you too.
That girl sucks. Anybody,
good riddance to that.
Anybody also that just abuses animals, get the fuck out of here. Immediately the worst person.
Immediately. No, there's something sinister with those people.
Okay, I have to pee really bad. I'm gonna go pee. Okay, wait. I want you guys to tell me what we should do because I can't decide.
Okay. Tell us the subjects.
Okay. So here's one: the taser, the pedo, and the 8 balls, or my ex-boyfriend stole my money and fucked a prostitute.
Ooh, they're both good. The first one kind of grabbed me.
Yeah.
Okay. The taser, the pedo, and the 8 balls?
Mm-hmm.
All right. When I was 18, I started selling shots in a strip club. What's that?
Like shot girls.
Yeah, like a bottle girl.
Okay. Yeah. Now, when I was selling shots, when I say I was selling shots, it means I was using the strip club as a portal to fast cash / drugs while doing the bare minimum, as I was incredibly prudish person with zero clue of how to sell myself. I ended up in the club because my best friend since middle school's father was a manager there who glorified the lifestyle in front of children's faces and promised us all jobs when we were old enough.
Okay, what is going on?
My history with him is a story for another day.
Well, write it. Yeah, write it on Patreon. It doesn't matter the day. Get to writing, sis.
Right, get to writing, girl. Just because I did not know how to use my body doesn't mean I did not end up in some interesting situations.
Oh.
As women, you don't have to know how to use your body to
end
up in
because we have holes, and that's really all that matters.
All you have to do is be born, really. That's it, as a woman.
Mhm.
Okay, really, my unconscious addiction to drugs led me to all sorts of places. Particularly, hell yeah, particularly one night when I was approached by a middle-aged man asking if I wanted to come back to his apartment to do a bunch of blow, a tale as old as time.
Yeah. That's how
So
they get you.
it is. So of course, I meet up with him after my shift. We are in his apartment. He's super friendly, and he has a lot of coke. He asked me if I wanted to make a lot of money that evening and explained that all I had to do was hang out with his friend and sell him an 8-ball.
What?
What's the catch? So being the complete addict, but also naive young woman, I agreed. While we sit and wait for his friend, whose name he said was John, this didn't even sound weird or like a fake name to me. That's how immature I was. He goes into the other room and asks to come back. He goes into the other room and comes back with a taser.
Oh.
Okay, wait. So while we sit and wait so you're waiting for John.
Mm-hmm.
The guy goes into the room and comes back with a taser.
Yes.
Like a giant handheld tactical taser.
Okay.
And hands it to me with a brief explanation of staying safe and hands me 2 8-balls.
Okay.
Okay, so we're off to not a very good start.
It's been bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is getting worse. Yes.
It's reminding me of that scene in Euphoria with Zendaya over at the drug girl's house.
Obsessed how they didn't tie that up at all.
No, they sure didn't.
They just kind of said, this is kind of messed up.
Yeah.
Anyways, Cassie, get on into doggy style position, girl.
Yeah, exactly. He keeps going, I'm in high school. Okay. The buzzer rang and eventually in walked an older man. Like late 50s, 60s, gray-haired, taller man. This guy had some very strange vibes. No fucking shit. They exchanged some words, and off we went into a cab. This is fucking dark, dude. I can't remember much from the ride other than starting to really worry this wasn't what I thought it was. I do remember bits and pieces. It was dawn by this point. How the hell long were you in this damn cab for? Okay, it was dawn by this point, and on our way out of the city, we passed by a prestigious law office where the guy points to a woman outside and goes into extensive detail about how she's the biggest whore in Philly.
Oh.
All of a sudden, we're on the bridge to New Jersey. We end up at the Feather Nest Inn. I break out one of the 8-balls for us, and we start exchanging words. The guy is laying on the bed, and I'm doing everything in my power to not go near him. So is he like waiting for you? Like to fuck him? Because is that what the guy said? If you want to make money, you just have to hang out with my friend and give us 8-balls?
I guess so.
Okay. I'm doing everything in my power to not go near him for hours. I do everything using my using power of conversation I didn't even know I had. I always was really quiet towards strangers. This even meant getting into some dark places and revealing pedo fantasies this guy had.
Okay.
Hey.
No.
What's wrong with men? Hey, what's wrong with men?
And this is what the conservatives need to be fucking focusing on.
This is.
And not gay people.
What do you want about this guy who's conservative? It's always the conservatives that are the pedophile. Okay.
That's true.
But somehow, for hours, I got away with not touching him and him not touching me outside of a few grazes of my skin. Okay, so it's like set up that you guys are supposed to fuck.
Mm-hmm.
We eventually call another cab and head to a bank where he proceeds to pull out $1,500. He then tells the cab to head somewhere else. What the hell? So you guys go.
This is so overwhelming. So that you're with these people for hours.
These two guys.
Mm-hmm.
John is the one.
Fake John, I guess.
Fake John is like laying on the bed telling you about how he wants to children.
Mm.
Can we say that on YouTube?
Probably not.
No.
So he's laying on the bed telling you about his minor league fantasies.
His fantasies about.
I'm curious because we have been swearing a lot less, so I'm wondering if the stories will get us.
I hope not.
So you
want guys? Let us have fun.
Wait. So what's going to have to start happening is we're going to have to start editing out their curse words as we're reading it.
It's not just the curse words. I think it's the content as well.
Yeah.
Well, why can't we have fun anymore?
We can't have fun. We can't have fun.
I'm not worried about it.
If we can't talk about incest, pedophilia, and shit kinks, then I don't even want to do this.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing
and
to
I never
anything.
thought I would say that. Okay.
So eventually we call another cab. They leave. Okay, so they're leaving this hotel. He then tells the cab to head somewhere else. This is where he planned on buying the coke and paying me for my time. We pull up in a hood-ass apartment townhouse development. We get out of the cab and head into a unit. As soon as we stepped in there, the hairs on my neck stood up even straighter. There was no furniture in the house. Nothing. Just mail on the floor, 2 beach chairs, and a TV on a milk crate playing a porn home menu on repeat. This is a nightmare.
This is
This is a horror film.
I was just gonna say that. This is Lionsgate. Yeah.
This is horrific. I would be mortified. This is like Jeffrey Dahmer shit.
No, it is. Also, so she's 18?
She didn't say.
Because she had just gotten the job.
Yes, 18. Yeah, she's 18. You're right.
So they're with this little 18-year-old girl.
Oh my God. This is so dark. So does he live there? Is that what we okay.
In reality, that's just a trap house.
It's a trap house.
Yeah. And I mean, you can get murdered at trap houses.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's there's no oversight.
He tells me he's going upstairs.
Thank you for painting that picture.
So he tells me,
I was wondering where the HR was.
Okay. He tells me he's going to go upstairs really quick and to head into the kitchen to break out his Coke. Okay. So he tells you to go to the kitchen, get the Coke out. While I'm in there, I'm not in my body. I am literally floating above myself in complete panic. All of a sudden, I hear some scrumpling coming from what sounds like the level I'm on or below.
Okay.
I panic. Are you just here with this guy? What happened to the other guy? I panic. I collect my shit and I run towards the front door. When I almost reach it, he runs from upstairs and gets between the door and I.
Stop.
This is horrifying. Okay, keep going.
I whip out the taser and I hold it to his neck. I keep repeating, give me the money and get the fuck out of my way over and over again. He finally gives in and does just that.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh my
it's
God.
giving Miss Boss.
Yeah.
This is horrific.
This is in your fight or fucking flight.
This is one of the scariest scenarios I could ever imagine
this is
being
bone
in.
chilling.
Can you imagine?
No, this is awful.
This is horrific. I walk up the long driveway to a major road and end up in a gas station parking lot. I call a cab on my flip phone. When the cab arrives, it's the same driver that dropped us off. Our conversation is brief. I could barely say a word, but at one point, he expresses relief that I was not harmed. I wish this cab driver just waited for you.
I know.
He could smell something was not right with the situation when he dropped us off. We arrive at the train station, and I get on the next train to Philly. I couldn't believe the situation I had gotten myself in, and I still think to this day what this man's intentions were.
Mm-hmm.
If I was going to be raped or trafficked.
Or then murdered or trafficked then murdered. Yeah. Oh my Lord. What is that poor girl's name? She got imprisoned when she was 15 years old because when she was 14,
the black girl?
I believe so.
Yeah.
When she was sex trafficked, and then this guy that she was in a motel room with, 14 years old, this is a grown man. There was a gun there. She felt in danger.
He took her back to his house. I thought
it was in the motel. Because wasn't there one in a motel as well? Maybe I'm thinking of a different one.
I don't know if
the
it's
one
the
that
same
Rihanna
story.
backed.
Yes, it was a young black girl, and she went back to like hook up with this guy.
What's her name, Lee? Dude, can we look that up?
What is her name? And then she had to go to jail because she murdered the guy.
Yeah, no, and I believe she got her PhD in prison.
Yeah.
Graduated college.
There was some victory there. But the whole family was like, he would never he would never have done that. He was a good guy.
Oh, really? Then why was he fucking a child?
That was an insane fucking story.
No, that poor child.
Centoya Brown.
Yeah.
31.
Centoya Brown.
Whose murder conviction at 16 years of age galvanized A-list celebrities. So she was 16 when it happened, and she's been going through this for half her life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry. She deserves the world. Okay, so if the man who sold me to him knew if this man was dangerous, and that's why he gave me the taser. Mm-hmm. If the club
100%.
knew.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
Of course, and that's why he gave you the taser.
Yeah.
And was like, here's how to use it. Be safe.
Right.
Yeah, because the taser almost wasn't enough.
Right. Because they knew that this man was dangerous.
No, this is so dark.
If the club knew and let pimps come in to whore out the girls that worked there, if my friend's dad knew, ... I can't claim I didn't have a hand in my near demise being an active addict with an unconscious death wish, but these were grown men. This is so fucked.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just disgusted by the world sometimes. and how one incident can lead an individual to be scarred for the rest of their lives, while the others involved probably forgot about it the next day. The fact that this man has probably done this countless times.
Oh yeah, this is you're just another number to him.
You're just one that got
you're
away.
Prey. You're not even just like you're a woman. You're prey.
Now the next thing is what is there any way to fucking do something about this? Like, who do you contact? You have fucking contact the police about the club. Like, what do you do?
I know that's really tricky because then you have to have proof and whatnot. Also,
well, then you're also snitching on yourself for being a sex worker.
Fuck off,
but
you know?
Isn't there a way?
And selling the cocaine.
But
right.
Wait, but here's the now remember that no one knows.
That's how he entrapped her. That's how the pimp entrapped her.
Right, because she was supposed to sell the 2 8-balls.
You're going to sell the drugs and yourself. And do you want to make money? Here's how you make money. You go spend time with this man, which means have sex with him, and sell him these drugs.
Right.
And so she's like in the hole at that point.
That's so dark.
But isn't there a way to leave like an anonymous tip or?
Right.
But then then it just gets all convoluted because then you're going to need evidence and then you're going to need proof and then
are in on a lot of this shit.
Don't care about a single
my God.
pimp in
No,
a strip club. Yeah.
Let me look up the book I read. Moon River.
Infuriating. And that this man just the fact that you have to carry this around for the rest of your life. You probably have PTSD. Like you said, you're scarred for life. And this man probably forgot about it the next day. And he's like, all right, on to the next. Horrific.
Yeah, and that's probably not like a trap house or anything. That's probably like
sex trafficking.
That's probably a place that like him and his buddies have to go and have sex with sex workers that they get.
And the thing is we'll never know.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not somewhere you want to be. It's not a hotel where there's other people around, you know. And if you get in trouble, you can run out into the hallway and start screaming.
A man in his 50s.
No, that's
60,
it's perverse. And it's also, I just looked it up. So in 2020, I read this book called Long Bright River. It's by Liz Moore. And it honestly, because as you were reading this, I was thinking why does it sound so familiar? It's in the book, it's about this female cop and her younger sister is a drug addict. And her sister goes, she's in and out of trying to find sobriety and then just keeps going back to Oxy and whatnot. And it's based in Philadelphia. And there's this whole trap house scene that's really hideous. And the book is, it's gut wrenching and it's so well written, but it also really depicts how intertwined. And then she wanted to be a police officer because she wanted to be good in the world and whatnot. And then it just really exposes the prison system and But it also, she learns how intertwined the police system is. And it's interesting that it also is in Philly where it's the police system is so intertwined with the drug lords
100%.
So then we're well, let's do something. But oftentimes they are a team because they're mutually benefiting from each other.
They're being paid off. It's literally
with
with
sex
the Epstein
or
shit
drugs.
too.
With yeah.
How he had paid off all of the police.
Yes.
To stay quiet. It's so dark, dude.
And at that point,
the pilots and the stewardesses and
he had a whole fucking island.
Island.
When you so like she just said, she's the world is incredibly dark sometimes. When you focus on these things, it's perversely disheartening because it also, I feel there's just an overwhelming heavy sense of powerlessness to feel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't do anything about it.
You're just you're doing something wrong, but you don't have the money, the power, the force, the friends,
the job, the education,
the resources to do anything about this injustice.
It's we can sit here also and talk about this and be worked up, but it's what can we do? We can do nothing except for talk about it and have an awareness.
Right. And read Long Bright River by Liz Moore.
Dude, I'm reading this fucking book right now called The Sons of Cain. And it's a history of American serial killers. And they're talking, he's breaking down how very primally, so Homo sapiens killed out Neanderthals. And it's the Neanderthals were a very peaceful species, a nomadic peaceful species. And Homo sapiens, when at their core they're survivors, right? So they kill, and they fuck. And that is the primal fucking thing in a Homo sapien. So they wipe out anybody else. And it's all about how, like, at our very core, human beings are just violent serial killers, and how it's because it was like it's bred in us to survive, and because we are like the top of the food chain species, we have been bred to just like we have this primal thing in us that we like have to kill, we have to. And like they were saying that we, you know, over time Homo sapiens have developed you know, like empathy, and our frontal cortex has developed in a way to like, you know, nurture more so, but like the primal part of our brain is still communicating with our like newly developed like empathy brain.
Well, there was a documentary I was watching, it was on Discovery, that was saying that elephants and orcas are two animals specifically. Obviously, our brains are different shapes and whatever the fuck, but they were saying that elephants and orcas specifically, if you compared it to a humans, they are more empathetic and can feel more deeply than humans
Really?
can. Yes, and they are like more like
It's
nurturing
crazy.
and loving.
Yeah.
I was just like, that's
we got
wild.
to the top of the food chain for a reason, because we are inherently a violent species. And in the book, he talks about how, like, at the core, we are serial killers. We were bred to be serial killers because it's all about survival. How could you stop? How could you stop and think about, how could you get to the top of the food chain if you're stopping and thinking about taking care of people?
Right.
When you just are there to survive.
I wonder if that's why, and now in our modern age, that humans live constantly in like maybe this could, it's like kind of like ingrained to like live in a constant state of fight or flight. Also
100%.
with the way that Western society is set up to be, but because our brains are kind of hardwired for that line of thinking, because
like
keeps us in a hostile state.
It's like you can think about it too, like in the way that we have, you know, animals in captivity. Like a cat, my cats are, you know, inside cats. But
one of them is rebellious.
But the primal instinct to like get out and kill and like do things, it's like it's always there. Even when they've been raised in captivity, they don't have to fight for their lives, they don't have to kill things to get food, but instinctually they're like, I'm an animal, I gotta do this. And it's like human beings are the same way.
Right.
We just have now developed, you know,
I mean, it's like
skills to think deeper.
Why men always have to show off their fishing pictures, because they love to hunt.
Yeah, primally,
it's in their bones.
We're just vicious primal beings. It's so crazy. We just wiped out the species because we could.
Yeah.
Sons of Cain, everyone. It's a good book. A History of Serial Killers also talks about how men are far more hardwired to murder than women. And that women that murder are usually just accomplices to men.
But it's also, if they kill, it's usually because they're in a heightened emotional state, because like they're doing it it's like a crime of passion. Whereas men are more, it is way more likely for men to just kill just for the sake of killing.
Yeah.
Whereas a woman usually is not just going to pick a rando and just go get off on the high.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
There's this new show on Peacock called Based on a True Story, and it's about a serial killer. And it's really good. Okay.
Love that. No, it's my turn.
No,
it's not. You just read.
No, you did. You just read.
No, you just read for a long time.
You just read.
That's why we just talked about all that
story about the guy bringing her to the house.
That was me?
That was you.
What the heck?
So be quiet. Okay. Worst customer / owner of a restaurant. So I've been working as a host at a somewhat upscale restaurant, Chili's, for almost a year now. Olive Garden. I have tons of whack-ass customer stories, but one of the most insufferable people I ever met was a rich old man that partially owned the restaurant. He always expected special treatment and was a dick to all of the employees working way harder than they should have to please him. Because he was one of the owners, he never ever made reservations, which were almost required, as we were always crazy busy and packed with people. So this fucker would show up with like 6 other people and expect a table in the first row with a river view immediately. If I couldn't get him a table, he would walk back and forth around my desk, constantly asking when it would be ready. I swear he got off on watching me stress out. And that's a form of rape. Another thing, and I'm not even kidding. Another thing about this dude, he loved expensive ass candy bars that we sold at a small store in the restaurant. No, he'd buy a bunch at a time, which racked up because those hoes were like $5 each. When I would check him out at the store, he'd keep all the bars in his hands, so I'd have to reach way across the counter closer to him
No, he didn't.
to get them. He would pull this type of pedo shit with the younger girls at my job. Then he would never hand me the money. No, he would throw a $20 or a $50 bill down on the counter when my hand would already be out to take the money. That you should be legally allowed to slap someone across the to slap someone across the face if they throw money at you like
so
that.
disrespect. What happened to this man?
Fuck you.
What happened to you think he has a micro penis?
No, I don't. I think here's the thing. I think he has one of those like stingray penises, like a really like long, thin one, like a witch's finger.
Like a really big head.
Maybe. I'm talking just like long and thin, like a tail.
Ew.
Like a rat tail in between his legs, slithering around.
Ew.
Then he would never hand me the money. He would throw it on the counter when my hand was already out. One time, this fool could not bear to wait behind another customer at the store, so he came up to me as I was bagging this lady's food. I tried to ignore him at first, but then he kept violently banging the bunch of candy bars down on the counter till I acknowledged him. As always, he threw a 20 down. Assuming he made any change, I asked, "How many bars do you have?" I couldn't count them because he was clenching them in his hands. And he came back with, 8, count them, and then walked out without letting me ring them up for them. Walked out without letting me ring them up for inventory. I almost strangled that dude on the spot. But if customer service has taught me anything, it's that you can only give bad people what they deserve when you're off the clock. So if I ever see Candy Bar Man outside of the restaurant, he better run.
You know what makes me so crazy about people like this is that it's just these like things, these like little things that are not illegal. They're not punishable by crime.
Yeah, it's not a felony. It's just something that gives you deep disgust.
Because you're like, this is a disgusting person. This is a disgusting person who probably treats people like shit, who acts like shit. But they like, and it's just in these little moments, you know, that they just get to fucking.
They let you have like a little peek behind their manicured curtain of their personality, and you see that they're covered in like figurative filth.
This is a nasty person. This is a nasty person who should be in jail. He should be in jail.
Now, this is 100% true.
Yeah.
He's probably been kicked out of strip clubs, if not like banned.
100%.
The entitlement.
Yeah.
100%.
For treating girls like that, for like making them bend, for like making them like go like the extra way to him, you know, like they don't put up with
He's got some real, he's got some real strict views on women.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh God,
of course.
These people
and I
should be in jail.
I would guess that he probably doesn't have any brown friends either, so don't worry about that.
Absolutely does not. Absolutely doesn't. Probably has no friends.
And that is
the ones that he does have.
Observation.
And there are so many people like this that exist in the world that just walk around just being fucking pieces of shit, ruining other people's days.
Probably has, maybe he has like a wife that he like, you know, has swindled into marrying him.
Maybe,
and then her in his phone, she's in his phone, instead of like Barbara or wifey, it's fat cunt. And then he cheats on her.
You think it's fat cunt?
I think it's fat cunt.
Yeah, it definitely is.
In his phone.
Oh.
We've been back in our old ways for the last 20 minutes.
This is what happens when you get us riled up.
Here's the thing. If you get me white hot angry, I'm going to let a few fucking little bombs fly out of my mouth. You're going to let
a few fat cunts
in the last
drop.
story too.
All right. My ex-boyfriend stole my money and fucked a prostitute.
Okay.
See on YouTube.
Okay.
When I was 20 and living in London, I was in a relationship with a drug addict psychopath, but extremely cute.
All right.
Australian guy named Elijah. Of course, he's Australian. We met on a party doing cocaine in a squad. After a few days, we moved in together. Okay, what is this?
Honey, just go off.
He always talked about how he was God or something. Because he had an enlightened doing a lot of acid on his own in an empty room.
Okay. How come men can only ever have empathy after they've done 6 tabs of acid?
So true. Unless they've like gone on an ayahuasca trip, they don't have empathy.
They're like, oh my God, I just did 2 bumps of 2 tabs of acid.
No, I see.
You know what I realized? If my girlfriend says no anal, I shouldn't press her. Wow. I'm like, so you had to like see, you had to see in tie-dye to understand women's rights. Like, what's going on?
No, it's not even that. It's not even.
It literally is that.
No, he needs to find another way to convince her to do anal. It's not that he can just keep being like, come on, babe. He has to figure out another
But
way.
this is the only time. Well, yes, but it's also, I swear to God, it's after they do acid. That's when they're like, oh, I just have like a deep understanding. And it's like the surface. It's like just barely scratching the surface of a woman's empathy.
If I want to do anal, then I have to take her to a nice dinner beforehand. I can't just say I want anal. I got to treat her a little nicer. That's what it is. They get enlightened so they can kind of propose an idea in a different way.
Yeah, and it's still bad.
And it's still horrific. Okay. So he's enlightened now because he's done acid. Maybe he was schizophrenic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime that they think that they're God is...
Watch out. Or when you guys are movie night and you're like, don't make any sudden moves, babe. They're on to us. You're like, okay. So and the hidden cameras have now commenced.
Right. So the acid activated his schizophrenia.
Yeah.
It's just what happened.
Which actually that can happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It definitely happens. It's so scary. It's like a huge reason why I was always way too afraid to do any of these drugs. Okay, anyway. I was sure he was the love of my life, LOL. So I didn't mind paying the rent for him. Why do we as women do this?
Because we're givers.
Not to say that men don't do this, but like it's mostly women. Okay. I was working every day on an illegal food court. What?
What does that mean?
Making only 50 euros a day every day of the week. That's like $100 a day. Yeah. It's not so bad.
It's not double.
No, it's not double, honk.
Is it not?
No, it's
not double.
No, it's about the same. I think the euro is worth more.
It's like a quarter more. It's like
maybe
25 cents more.
But yeah, well, I don't know what.
It's like 75 bucks.
Look it up, the $1 to a euro. Because I swear to God, when I was just over there, it was not.
I mean, it's 8 cents more. So, I mean, it has at one time been a little bit more, but yeah.
Okay.
So it's giving $100.
It's 8 cents more.
Okay. So to pay for everything. While he was drinking, stealing my drugs and money, and fucked a prostitute in our bed.
Not in the bed.
Not in the bed.
Not in the bed.
So,
God.
So 50 euro is 53.97.
So I was close. So $100.
Giving far off.
Yeah. So it's giving $100.
So I said something that was closer and you were wrong. Okay.
So you fucked a prostitute in the bed.
And so you wish.
And so I'm going to do that to you.
So
the worst thing.
I'm locking my door.
The worst thing is I was obsessed with this guy. I didn't even get to leave him. He broke up with me. Oh no.
That's the worst, dude.
He broke up with me after a few months and also still owes me like $3,000 or something. He got married to the girl he met 3 months later.
And who knows if she has any idea?
No. And they moved to Vietnam.
Okay.
And they have 3 kids.
Okay.
Sometimes I stalk him on social media when I feel bad about myself because he became really fat, ugly, lost all his hair before he turned 30 and has some chronic illness. Yeah, thank God. Have fun in Vietnam.
Okay.
Have fun in Nam, bitch.
Okay.
So this wasn't the last time me being a dumb bitch, but for sure the dumbest I've ever been. Sorry about pointing out that he got fat. That's okay. I've never been skinny, and he always told me I would look good if I lose some weight. Fuck him.
Ew.
So it's payback time, bitch. Anyway, thanks for making my days better. Love to see that other people can be fucked up by circumstances and still try to be better, though. Love that.
Okay, love you. And I'm so sorry that he spoke to you like that. That's very sickening.
And that's so true. So you guys, that's been the episode. We have a lot of stories.
I have a really tiny short one. It's like literally like 2 sentences.
Please.
Can I? Okay. Worst person I've ever met and lived with was my ex-roommate. Study your friends very carefully before you move in with them, kids. We were good friends for a couple years until I moved in with her. She was always getting drunk and going out and would get pissy at me when I wouldn't want to participate. She even got mad at me for hanging out with my best friend and would start fights because I wanted to stay in my room because I was depressed and going through a horrible breakup at the time. Obvi, she didn't care. I had to work at 5 a.m. every day, and she would consistently throw loud parties. I'm talking almost every night. Most of her time in bed, her night ended with her calling her other friends while she was trashed. And when they would tell her to fuck off, she would scream and cry right outside my window like a goddamn baby. No, honey, that's a goddamn raccoon.
She sucks.
Living with her honestly sucked the life out of me. That bitch was truly a demon, and I hope she went to Al-Anon, but I know she didn't. Rest in piss, bitch, and enjoy your next carnation as a fucking roach you truly are. Love you.
Shakespeare once said, hell is empty and all the devils are here.
And you want to know what? He was fucking right.
And he was fucking right. And today's episode
is sponsored by Shakespeare.
It's sponsored by Bill himself.
Okay, you guys. Okay, so that was our episode on the worst person you've ever met. Go ahead and send this podcast to the worst person you've ever met and unblock them and then reblock them. Follow us on Instagram at teatime42069. We post all the prompts there. And if you're on Patreon, where if you're hot, you fucking should be. And you know what? Even if you're ugly, get on over there. It's $5 a month. We do 4 extra episodes every month.
We post the prompts early now. So if you're on Patreon, you get to see the
yes.
prompts early.
Yes.
And we do all the extra stories. So today we got a bunch of stories. They're all going to be on Patreon. I said this in the beginning of the episode, but the other stories will be on Patreon. We've got some
and we have
juicy
a
ones.
really good juicer.
We definitely hunker down and pretty much just read stories because we record the Patreon right after this episode. So then we just kind of get straight into stories. So join us on Patreon.
And sometimes, and we on last, I think it was the last episode. So some guy had sent us a unhinged email, and I straight up just called him and I asked him what was going on with that. And
oh yeah, that was fun.
And sometimes we just do that. Sometimes I'll call you guys and I won't even block my phone number because I forget me. But anyways, if you like this podcast, tell someone or don't. And as always, email us at teatimestories42069@gmail.com.
We love you. See you on Patreon. Bye.
Love you guys.